Hello and welcome to the Get Out of Gaming podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ben,
I'm Alex.
and we are your bi-weekly nerd all podcast. Talk about games, movies, anime, things that we particularly like. We release every other week on iTunes, iHeartRadio, you name it. We probably have our podcast on there, and we're also on YouTube. So if you would like to see us and how pretty we are, definitely check out our YouTube. I'm not pretty right now. My eye is pretty messed up. But, I just was telling people that my wife just hit me. So she got finally tired of all the Amazon packages.
How many people actually believed you?
Nobody.
Oh.
Well, my mom did. My mom was like, yeah, probably. But we got a good show today. We are going to talk about Suicide Squad. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. Suicide Squad delayed. Gerard, the Completionist, literally bought everything on Wii U and 3DS that was on there before it goes away. And then, unfortunately, Twitch layoffs. But before we do that, we're going to do what we do every single week. We talk about our hidden treasures and what we've been playing. So, Alex, what hidden treasures do you have, and what have you been playing?
Well, I don't really have anything to show per se. Do I actually? No, I guess not.
I will say, like looking back at other episodes, you've been really good about your purchases.
Maybe I'm just hiding them. Like okay. Oh yeah. I can't show this, but we were gonna talk about this before I even said something. So I had to buy a new TV. I didn't have to buy a new TV. I bought a new TV.
Yeah,
Over the weekend. I think it was on Sunday. Because yeah, that's why I texted you. And so our living room TV was a Samsung TV, and I've kind of noticed something was kind of wrong, but like I kept forgetting about it, or like there's just been some weird issues with it, and we've had it for like 3 years, maybe even less than that. And so like it's had some issues randomly. Like sometimes it would just turn off on its own or just like restart itself. Sometimes there would just be random issues with the audio, or the camera, or the controller just wouldn't respond, even though it has batteries and the batteries are good. Just random stuff like that. And stuff that you could like deal with, and you're just like, oh, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just messed up for some reason because we use it so much. Maybe, who knows? And then my roommate had to point this out again. And like I said, I kind of noticed something, but I also always kind of put it in the back of my mind. But it might have just been worse on that day. But there was like this clear black bar in like, let me describe this like this maybe. Okay. So let's say this is the TV. For audio listeners, I'm holding up a Digimon card because I'm obsessed and I have a problem. Please help. So this is a TV, and right here is the line. So there is this huge, like, it's not a line, it's like a square, like a darkened rectangle, let's say, that's just going down, and like everything else looks fine and everything's playing fine. It's just darkened in this certain like location of the screen, and I noticed it too much, and I was like, hey, let's just go look at TVs, see what we can find. And we found a really good Sony TV, Sony 4K. It's the 80 or 80K something, like it's a I think that's like the name of it or whatever. It's not like the lowest one, but it's like the next one up. And it's also
yeah.
55-inch because that's the only thing that our like entertainment stand can hold. That's the highest that it can hold. And so we got that as 4K capabilities, as HDR, and oh boy, this thing is immediately way better than our previous TV.
Yeah.
It has Dolby. Atmos and like that kind of stuff as well. We don't necessarily have Dolby Atmos, but like it has better sound system stuff working with our sound system and my Xbox and all that kind of stuff. So it is overall better. It's way more clear and all of that, but you know, you gotta turn off all the motion smoothing, you gotta do all that stuff because
Yep.
it's awful. And like each input has one, and there's no way to just like turn them off for everything. So every time you change it to a new input for the first time, you have to like go through everything, be like, turn off motion smoothing, turn off this thing, turn off the black level thing, like turn off all this stuff here. And but like once we got going, and like my Xbox is now like super bright, it's awesome. Like that screen is really good. We watch Mandalorian and like some other stuff on there, and it looked amazing. Like it looked way better than the old TV, even if it was looking fine. Even though they were both 4K. Um, so yeah, we gave away the old TV because we were like, it's broken, and like we don't really want to sell like something that's broken per se.
Right.
So yeah, we gave it to uh some his brother. So that's where that's at now. Rest in peace, Samsung Pay is what we named it. Um, because I don't know if it was a side tangent. I don't know if you do you remember those commercials with Hannibal, like the comedian,
Yes.
and he was like um a Samsung Pay person, and like he was going to like some random place in New York. It was like a bodega like place, and the guy at the cash register is like, "It's not gonna work, Hannibal. It's not gonna work with the Samsung. Look how old the cash register is. It's not gonna work." And he like puts his phone on there, and it works. And he's like, "Oh, that's it's an inside joke over here." So whenever I see Samsung, I just think of Hannibal. So then I think of Samsung Pay. I don't even have a Samsung
I
phone.
mean, we both know that that never really would have worked.
No, but I mean, I like to believe. Otherwise, as Hannibal would say in the Eric Andre show, whack.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Samsung appliances now that are not even 4 years old that have already placed the dishwasher 3 times. Yeah, I won't. We could do a whole podcast on how crappy Samsung products are, except for their phones. But we won't. We won't.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah. I so we bought the new um TV, so that's very nice. And then oh yeah, I don't know if I talked about this last week or a couple weeks ago. I bought The Last of Us Part One on PS5. I don't know
I
if I
remember when you sent that picture. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if I showed it on here or not. It's over there. It's too far away. But it's I have to like fall on my green screen, and I haven't touched it or anything yet, obviously. But I had like a coupon for like $20 off or something for Best Buy, because again, Best Buy, we're gonna talk about that as well. They they've had like a Best Buy account thing for a while where you like earn points and all that kind of stuff. They stopped that unless you
yeah,
have a Best Buy credit card, you do not accumulate points anymore. So what happened was they uh, cashed out all of our points, and they were just like, "All right, here's your $20." And so I had to tell them like, "Hey, $20, please," because I'm not signing up for a Best Buy credit card. I don't need that.
yeah. No, no.
Um, so yeah, I had The Last of Us Part One. I'm looking forward to playing that, especially after watching the show, because ooh man, that show was excellent. Uh, really like it. Have you finished it yet?
I just finished episode 2. I
You're
know it's been a weird thing
okay.
at work, and so I've not had a lot of time, but I'm getting there.
Okay.
Episode 2 finished.
Episode 3 is probably one of the best episodes of TV ever.
I keep hearing that, so I'm excited to
So yeah,
watch.
I'm ready for you to be disappointed since everyone's overhyped it. But no, seriously, like it's like very very good. Even people who like don't necessarily like The Last of Us or the genre, as long as you're not, I mean, you don't have this problem, but in general for people, as long as you're not like homophobic, I think you're fine.
Oh, I'm not.
So yeah, exactly. Because I've heard stuff from like my younger sister, like she watched the whole thing. She doesn't play video games really, and she loved it. Um, And so she said that her roommate and her friend or whatever watched it and they hated that episode because, sure enough, I mean, they're homophobic and stuff, and they're like, this isn't even sad and all this other stuff. It's not good. It's like,
Yeah,
shut up.
yeah,
uh, but uh, but yeah, no, I think you're gonna enjoy it. I really really like that episode. Bring a box of tissues because like man, it is actually a tearjerker. Like real talk, like it is really really bad and ugly. Um, but yeah, I've been playing Xenoblade still, and I'm semi enjoying that. Uh, the problem with Xenoblade, and I think I've said this before, is that there are too many side quests, and
yeah,
like you just have to keep doing these side quests. But the problem is you need to do the side quests because otherwise you can't do the main quest because the main quest is too hard, and then you have to just go and do more side quests, and then it's just a never ending circle of life, and I hate it. But the main story is fun, and I'm liking playing as some of these new characters and seeing how they run around. Um, I'm a little more than halfway through the game this time compared to my previous time of playing it. The last time I got almost this far was on the Wii, so I've definitely gotten a lot further than I have way back when. I'm enjoying the characters. I'm enjoying a lot about the story in general. Um, I hated the voice acting so much in the very beginning and with my Wii experience that is in Japanese. It's nothing against the actors or anything. It's just that it is a UK dub and there's only so much of that I can
yeah,
handle. It's just acted differently, and that's it was never like really like localized here. Like we just got the UK version because it was cheaper to do instead of doing their own dub over here. Um, but yeah, that's fine. And then also, um, I guess we were talking before the break. But I'm gonna bring it up first. So now it's my thing. So you might talk about Kirby in a little bit. So I've also been playing a Kirby game. It is not the newest game. It is something that I discovered on the Nintendo Switch Online for Japan. And I didn't know that it was on the Super Nintendo for Japan. It apparently came out in July. It is, if I can find it. Let's just play this one. It's Kirby. So Kirby Star Stacker is the game for the Game Boy that I have here.
oh
And
nice,
I really, really like this game. This is one of my favorite puzzle games like ever. And so when I found out there was a Super Nintendo version of it or Super Famicom version of it, I was ecstatic, and I was trying to find this game and buy this game for a long time. But it's like over $100. I can't find like the real cartridge sometimes, and it's like a fan made cartridge because people call it Superstar Stacker in America for like ROM hacks and stuff. But it's just Kirby Star Stacker, but in Super Nintendo. So I've been doing this mode where, or not challenge mode, I guess just normal mode, and like every line that you get or whatever, um, you get points and stuff for it, and I'm like over 2,000 points, or
wow,
maybe more than that, um, because I what do you call it? Save point, like the checkpoint system or whatever, save state. Um, like when I'm done with the game, and then I just leave and then come back to the same save state. So I'm playing the same game. It just keeps lining
right,
up, but it gets harder and harder. So like it's cool just to see like, oh, how fast these blocks falling, and how well can I still keep up, and like I'm still doing fairly well. I just don't want to waste the whole time or leave on the Super Nintendo
yeah,
technically forever. But yeah, no, it's a very fun game. I recommend it if you have the Nintendo Switch Online and you make PSA for everyone. If you have Nintendo Switch Online and you make a Japanese account, Japanese accounts, you're allowed to just download anything from the Japanese store that is free, or if you want to like add money to it, you can, but you have to have like a Japanese credit card or weird stuff like that. Um, so what I do, so Nintendo Switch Online things like NES or Famicom, Super Famicom, Game Boy, all that kind of stuff. Every time there's a new console release, if you just go and log into the eShop with your Japanese account, you can just download it. You don't have to prove that you have Nintendo Switch Online or anything. You just download it, and then after you do that, then when you have it, you open it up as your American account, and it just checks like, oh yeah, you have Nintendo Switch Online, and then you can just play it with your American
Okay.
account. So yeah, that's what I do. So I have like the Famicom, Super Famicom, Japanese Game Boy, Japanese was it Mega Drive? Yeah, instead of Genesis. Um and then like all yeah, N64 all that kind of stuff. So because we do get different games compared to them and vice versa. So it's just really cool to see all those types of things. But yeah, I haven't really been playing much. It's really just these two things. And then Ishin for a little bit more. I did stream that yesterday. I'll probably stream some more eventually.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm still liking that game a lot.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I may get it. I have a pretty big list of games I probably should finish first.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, but yeah, it's funny you said like Kirby. So I've been playing Kirby's Dream Land 2 on
Mm-hmm.
Game Boy for Nintendo Switch online. And I even said in an earlier podcast, once that happens, I said I'm going to be probably playing that a lot. And I also started Metroid Fusion, which fantastic. I forgot how kind of creepy it is though.
Yeah.
Like when they show the other Samus, the whole lifeless face
Oh
thing.
yeah, and it does like the actual like cut scene and like the zoom
Yeah,
in.
it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so I've been playing a little bit of that, and of course, without even saying anything, I've been playing Halo. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a gimme. I mean, Halo for me is so easy just to start it. But it's funny. So I've been playing this with the Game Boy, regular Game Boy, not Game Boy Color.
Okay.
So you get that nostalgic feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so and so I've been having a lot of fun with it. Metroid Fusion has been great. I've been doing so well with it that I got my son to play it. So um, kind of playing a little bit of that. Watching, I restarted Mandalorian because I was trying to remember like where I've been, and I was like, I can't really remember it.
Yeah.
So I restarted it, and so I've been doing a little bit of that. I'm trying to think what all I've been playing besides that. I think that's been pretty much it. I've been playing a lot more, a lot more Game Boy stuff
Mm-hmm.
than I thought I was going to, and so as soon as I even told Alex, I said once they go to that platform and they use those, I will buy it that day. I think I bought it that weekend. So
You did. And also, I mean, as you said before, um, like your kids have been really into a lot of these older games too. So like
yeah,
having more of a library there, they can play Mario 64 now. They can play um I don't know. They might not necessarily be ready for Zelda, but like soon they can play Ocarina of Time or something like that.
yeah,
So or any of the Sonic games cuz like yeah, like Sonic is on
yeah.
there as
They were
well.
playing Sonic 2 the other day. Um, right now they're really big into Mario 3D
Mhm.
for Switch, and then Mario. Um,
Odyssey.
yes, Odyssey. Thank you. And I've almost bought a second copy because it's like we have to switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I remember we talked about that. I think last
yeah,
week, and but we weren't on a show. But I was telling you, I was like, yeah, I have a copy that's literally just sitting behind me. That's not doing
yeah.
anything but collecting dust. So you can go ahead and just come pick it up until your kids are tired of it, and then just give it back to me.
Well, Alpha right now is in World 7.
Oh
And
wow.
so once he finishes it, he probably won't touch it again. But
Hmm.
that's what I've been showing him. I've been showing him like what was it? Super Mario World. I showed him um Mario 64.
Hmm.
Like these are definitely games where they can get into and they can do, and they're like a Mario kick right now.
Yeah.
So as for things I've purchased, we've had some weird things at work. I told Alex about a lot of them. I'm not gonna really go into them. but then I had to have some retail therapy. And
Mhm.
so I bought some stuff that I'm like, I'll probably never play this, but sure. So I did buy Sifu on the Wii. This is a Vengeance collection. So this comes with an art book, a digital soundtrack, some pictures, and a steel book. I'm kind of anxious to see how it plays on the Switch,
Mhm.
to be honest, um, because it literally is you gotta run a higher frame rate because of some of the fights. So um, that should be interesting. One thing I bought this from Amazon. I'm pretty sure this is not American. I think it's Europe, but I bought this. So it is Final Fantasy VII and then Final Fantasy VIII remastered on Switch.
Yeah, the physical was only for Europe and
Yeah.
Japan
So here's what's crazy. I've double checked it. They're both on this
on a
cartridge.
single cartridge. Yeah, because they're so
Yep.
tiny.
Yeah. So this was pretty cool. I have been wanting this for a while, and this went on sale. Um, and so I think it's really cool when you can do that, when you can buy things from other countries. I
Hmm.
know I own, I think it's like Super Robot Wars.
Yeah.
That's from Japan,
Hmm.
and it works on my Switch, and it's in English subtitles.
Yeah.
Uh, so which is fine by me because all the voice acting is like the actual voice actors. Like, so like I know like Cowboy Bebop showed in there, and it
Hmm.
was that guy's voice from over there. Um, but yeah, so that was the other, and the other one I got. So it's called Clive and Wrench. Um, so I follow Numbskull on TikTok. They did another game I somewhat liked that I bought like a way too expensive version of.
Hmm.
Um, but this one feels like Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank uh, there. So I bought that, and so I haven't played it yet. But you know, it's nice to have like a good platformer every now and then when you're just like, man, I just need to take a break from everything else. Or play a platformer,
Hmm.
which I think is I think everyone has to be that way. Um, but yeah, these ones are really cool. I think my favorite has got to be the Final Fantasy. I've not actually started playing it, but it's cool that it's on the Switch, and I can
Yeah,
just
for a while ago, I was playing through Final Fantasy VII on my Switch, or playing with quotations, like I was skipping battles or like just playing through, just reading it essentially, because it's a long game and we're adults, and like I don't have as much of the time to like. PS1 RPGs are really good, and they're very they can be like thought provoking and just have excellent story. However, they suffer from a lot of grinding and also just load screen
yep,
stuff, regardless if you're playing like any sort of port or whatever. Like there's just too many menus, so like it just can take a long time. So like I just personally don't have the patience or the time right now to really like go through that game fully and play it again. I just want to experience and read the story again before I don't know, like before, like maybe I watch Advent Children again or like something like that,
yep.
you know, because like we got I mean, I finished Crisis Core Reunion a while back here, so that kind of made me want to go through Final Fantasy VII again. Eight is a different story. I'd never really want to go through that again, to be honest. But I don't know. I don't really enjoy that game. So, but that's why I actually don't even own that game on Switch. I own eight. I own seven and nine on Switch,
They
digitally.
even they even have 9
Hmm.
on Switch.
Yeah.
It's the only game on there.
Yeah,
Uh,
on that physical,
it,
yeah.
yeah, and I'll probably get that as well before I get 10. I don't own 10 or 10.2 on Switch, but I'm sure I will at some point. When I do play it, I do play it on my PC. I feel like that's the for me that's the version I like to play. Uh, and so like I was listening in my car today on my Pandora, and like Final Fantasy X music came up, so I probably will play it
Oh
again.
yeah.
But then I get to like halfway through the game, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's still like hours.
I thought you
Yeah,
were gonna like be like I was listening to music in the radio, and all of a sudden 10-2's was it Real Emotion played that opening song, and you're just jamming out in the car, and
that's what was
you know it's
playing. But
just singing.
it was kind of funny because right after it they played the Doom
Mhm.
song, which didn't make much sense at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so eventually I will go back. I think um, I'm going to take some time off here in April, and then I'm going to take some time off in the fall. And when I do, I'm going to really have stuff to kind of take with me.
Mhm.
I'm going to be going in the fall, hopefully just a weekend with my wife. And there will be times where because I don't sleep very much, but she does.
Mhm.
So when in a hotel, I'm gonna have my Switch with me, and so these are the times that I'll have that just to do that. But let's kind of jump into some of this. So Suicide Squad. I don't know if everyone remembers a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it. It did not look good to either one of us. I thought I said it looked very Fortnite-ish. I think Alex did as well. So it is reportedly delayed again. Um, so it's from May 26th. Um, Reading different sources and stuff like that, they're not really doing like a date when they're going to put it out. I know that the Rocksteady has been reading what people have been saying. IGN has had some pretty big things to say. I know when I was watching IGN talking about it, they were just like, we're just not impressed. We don't want to be flying around shooting purple objects.
Mhm.
That doesn't seem fun to us. How do you go from Batman to this?
Yep.
So they really don't. I want it because it's Kevin Conroy's last role. Um, and I want to like it, but gosh, man, it just seems. I feel like, first you had the Batman game with all of its counterparts that came out that was just not received well, and then there's this. So
The
it's
excuse for that previous one always is though, like, hey, that's a different studio. It's still Warner Brothers Interactive or whatever, but like it is a different studio, so you can kind of give them a little bit more uh breathing room and leeway there. Whereas this was Rocksteady. This is Rocksteady. And
yeah,
so I think you're correct in the assumption, or like I guess it wasn't really your assumption, but like yeah, you want to buy this because this is like Kevin Conroy. As far as we know, like this is one of Kevin Conroy's
right,
last performances, and like Kevin Conroy built Rocksteady. Like if Kevin Conroy and like Mark Hamill were not in the Batman Arkham games like at all,
yeah,
I think those games probably would have turned out a little bit differently. I think it would still be good, but like they really made their roles like they they hit the nail on the head there, and like they always have been good like in the previous iterations and things, but like just giving more depth to the character compared to just watching him on either like the Justice League cartoons or even just Batman the animated series, being more real and more like I don't know, like darker, like some comics and things. um yeah, they can't afford to make something bad and multiple reasons, and one I think is to solely like uh Kevin Conroy's like name and performance. Like,
yeah,
what would that be? Like, man, too bad Kevin Conroy's last game sucked.
yeah. Well, it's funny because there's a tweet here from Jason Schreier. Um, and the part that I really kind of stuck with, I'll read this. This is from his Twitter. He says, "For what it's worth, a delay like this is mainly for polish, not to overhaul the core game that caused the backlash. Suicide Squad started off as a game as a service and remained one short of a complete reboot, which would require much longer delays." Now, here's my thought. I think it's not coming out this year. It's not coming out this year now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the backlash was real. I think right now with Rocksteady, they have had people leave too,
Mm-hmm.
very recently. I think that has been a part of it. They can't release this game. That Warner Brothers game um, that came out was not good. I bought it. I think I bought it for like
I
$30.
think you did too.
And the thing was is when you play any sort of game with Batman or Robin or whatever, I felt the fighting was very slow and not fluent. It felt like pushed, you know, as were any of the Batman games, all of it felt like very fluent. Now, granted, it was another studio, um, but with what I saw there, I was just like, God, I'm gonna buy this just because of Conroy, and I want to play King Shark because I like King Shark.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not good. It didn't had Harley Quinn on like a glider. It looked very not like them at all, which is funny because the last Batman game, do you remember they have like they're like not missions, but they're like you could do like different rooms of stuff with different like
Mhm.
objectives. You could play as Harley Quinn.
Mhm. Yeah, I
She
remember
was
that.
not flying around on a glider.
Nah.
You know, she was doing stuff like Batman. You could do Joker. Uh, so yeah, this isn't a surprising thing. They said it's funny. Um, you know, they've already pushed it back. It was supposed to come out last year, and it
Mhm.
didn't. There's no date, which tells me that they are not even. I mean, they're just trying to figure out what they're going to do. And I don't. They can say all day long it wasn't the backlash from like everybody, but it was everybody that said something negative.
I agree. I mean, I have heard some positives in the sense of like, oh, this looks like a game I might play for a weekend, but like
Yeah,
that's not really that positive. Like it might have some interesting like feats and like features to it, but like this, but it's not a Batman game. It's not a DC game. Like why we talked about last week or whatever, but like why does King Shark have a gun just like everyone else? Shouldn't King Shark be, I don't know, using his strength and being a shark man
yeah,
and
like
like
eating
doing
people.
stuff?
Um, I think that's why I like that second Suicide Squad movie because King Shark literally was eating people and was not very bright. This one's obviously very educated.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just you know, and it's funny because it comes from a studio that's had like hit after hit, like all three Batman games were received very well. So this is the first time they've heard like, oh, this does not look good.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see on that. And when they get an update, we'll give you guys an update and talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone that probably listens to our podcast has heard of the Completionist. So this is the craziest thing I think I've ever heard, and I was telling Alex when he bring it up, he literally bought every single Wii U and 3DS game before the Nintendo eShop closed, and they showed like a whole video about how they did it. Um, oh my gosh, like literally, I was watching this video and I was like, first off, this is crazy. Watching him try to buy the gift cards and like running into problems and all that was cool. But what got me was is the preservation of all of these games because
Yeah.
I think as of next week they will be gone. You know,
Hmm.
um, so it's gonna be it should be interesting this here. But I know there was like back and forth of like people were like, oh, this is dumb. Why would you buy all this? Blah blah blah. I think this is great. I think this is what we should be doing to preserve some of these games that either A are not a physical version of, or there is a physical version, but it's just so expensive.
Yeah, it's bringing up the conversation of piracy again as well, because a lot of these games aren't available everywhere. The Wii and the Wii U both were very much a celebration of games, and the 3DS, I guess, to a degree. Like you could buy a bunch of older game console games and stuff like that through all of these systems. Like that was one of the first places where you could download, I want to say, like Turbo Graphics, like
Yeah,
16 games, and like you could download Master System games. You could download all these, I don't know, all these eShop games and all this. But like, yeah, there is a problem with game preservation as a whole, and having the eShop in general was very good for the community. So but now a lot of these games won't see the light of day. I know even Gerard, when he was going through this here, um, there were games that they were coming across that were already delisted at the time,
Yeah.
because they didn't want to pay for the license for the eShop anymore. So, um, or the eShop or whoever didn't want to pay the license for it. So, like, yeah, it wasn't on there anymore. So, like, I wonder how many games that Gerard missed because they weren't
Yeah.
even on there. Like, could there be like I don't know if this would be an example that would be on there or missing or whatever. But like for example, we were talking. I was talking in a stream earlier. We'll talk about that person in a little while. But like say that it was missing Sonic for the Master System,
Yeah.
like, and there's no real official way to play that unless you have the Master System cartridge. That's crazy to me that there is no way that Sega has preserved this in a proper way where people can get it and buy it or whatever.
You
Um,
know, and I feel like companies are always like, "Oh, piracy's bad, piracy's bad," but then they don't want to take that effort to make it so it is available. Um, and I think that's where I kind of went. So back in the day when internet was starting to become better, uh, they had I probably use a lot of emulators just because for me to try and find a Sega Genesis or a Super or Nintendo, you just couldn't find it.
mhm.
You know, um, now we have all this great technology. We should be preserving this stuff. We should be getting it so you don't have to pirate it. And so I kind of see the point there. I know Kelsey that owns Pink Gorilla posted something.
Mhm.
She was like, "Guys, you have to read this article before we start making things because there was a lot of people of like, I'll just pirate it. I'll just pirate it. And I know she does work for, um, and is part of like the video game historian society or something along those lines where
Yeah.
they save the games and stuff like that. So
Video Game History Foundation.
that's what it is. So and I see her point in that and where it's important to preserve these. But the heck he went through for this, oh my gosh! Like I remember when it wasn't letting him take all of the gift cards, and they had to stop, and then you could only put a certain amount on there. It was crazy.
Yeah, good thing he started this a year ago. So like he didn't just like do this the last week. um because otherwise it wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah, no,
Um but yeah, no, it's really cool to see him doing that. It's cool to see him um still doing well, obviously. We know that Gerard would be doing okay after the whole G4 debacle, but it's cool to see him in the news officially again. People are getting upset, and semi rightfully so. Gerard doesn't care anymore, so he's told people to stop coming after um, news sites and stuff, but they label Gerard for, or they clickbait things or say like fan buys this, and they're like, you need to change that to Gerard the completionist buys this, because like why is he not like giving credit, like he's giving credit in the actual um articles and stuff, but when you actually look into like the headline and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't say Gerard, or he's not mentioned anywhere like in the tweets of the article,
yeah,
um, which is also just another problem of um, I don't know, video game journalism trying to take away things to make you click
yeah.
on things. And
It's funny because I feel like in certain realms and like when it gets to like certain outlets that are not in that spectrum of video games, they're like it's just a YouTuber, some guy, right? But like if you actually watch this material and seen what he does and where he's kind of grown over the years, he's kind of like a big deal for for YouTube, and not just YouTube, but all the charity work he does, and he does the indie thing that's like 24 hours or 48 hours of just nothing but like indie games, and they show it.
Hmm.
He's a very big person in the community. So yeah, I think I saw one that was like YouTuber buys all this, and I'm like, Gerard the Completionist. And this was I'm not gonna say who it was, but this is a blog that writes about video games.
Yeah, exactly. No, a lot of them were writing about video games, and they have forever, and they say fan this or fan that.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's still cool. Yeah, it's still cool that he did all this stuff. So I mean, that's the important lesson here. Regardless of how you feel about how other news outlets are taking this, or showing this, is that the information's out there. The reasoning and like who it is eventually is out there, but more importantly it's bringing to attention to everyone again, like, hey, preservation for media in general is um I don't know, it's hard to do because companies aren't letting us do it. Same thing with like the ESA and stuff. um it's
Yeah, and
just
it's not
annoying.
just video. It's movies. It's music.
Yeah, but at least with like movies and stuff, like you can find a lot of movies somehow,
Right.
like through official means, especially now. Same thing with like anime nowadays for the most part. Like you go to Crunchyroll and there's just everything there. You go to Amazon and you'll probably find some obscure movie from like, I don't know, the 1940s, or like even if it's not available for streaming, it's probably available for purchase digitally,
Yeah.
in
Right.
some way. Like for example, I ended up buying a DVD because I didn't want to buy a digital copy because that's me. But I almost said The Sound of Music. It's not The Sound of Music. Close. Fiddler on the Roof. I bought Fiddler on the Roof from like a Half Price Books or something like that a year ago, maybe, because it wasn't streaming anywhere, and I really wanted to watch that movie because it's a really good movie if you haven't seen it. But it was available for like purchase through like probably like Amazon or iTunes or something like that, something weird like that. And I don't want to do that. Like I'm not the kind of person who purchases stuff like that. I have a couple times, and that's only when I really like something or I really want to watch it. Um,
Yeah.
so like for example, the one that I did that for was there were two that I did that for were Into the Spider Verse. I bought that as soon as I could digitally. Um, because it was available way earlier digitally, and that's how I watched it. And then the newest Lupin the Third CG movie that came out like a couple years ago, that was available through like Amazon and stuff first before the physical copy was coming out. So yeah, so there are easier ways for TV and film and stuff, but video games, like, there's just such a chokehold on all that kind of stuff from
Yeah.
companies, that it's hard. But it's cool that Gerard donating these consoles, donated the accounts as well, because the cool thing, oh yeah, and there's has been like misinformation going around, especially on like TikTok and stuff. Um, if you own these games on your eShop account, they're not going anywhere. You can re-download them. You just can't um you just can't buy anything new.
Yeah.
So as far as we know, for a while. But I mean, like, the Wii shopping, like, yeah, that was down for some reason for a while. Last year, maybe a couple years ago, it was down for like 5 months, but it came back up. And like, the even after that was been turned off, like, you can still download things that you previously purchased through there. So like, it is possible of like, there is preservation there in that, right, at least. But yeah, just, I guess no one wants to pay the licensing fee to
Oh,
keep their stuff up anymore.
well, it's funny you say that because on my PS3, I still have Simpsons arcade game, and it's been gone for a while, but I can still download it. So
Well, that's the problem with with Xbox actually is that Xbox doesn't really do that. Like you can't just download a game like that again on Xbox. Once you deleted it, it's gone. Whereas with Sony on the PS3, like yeah, they keep your download forever. Because I remember I deleted something and like it completely disappeared from my downloads for 360. It was either Simpsons Arcade or it was no, it might have been like Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time, like the remake one that
Oh
was
yeah.
really really bad. But like I enjoyed it because I was playing online with people. Um, but like yeah, that got delisted. So like yeah, I can't like I'm pretty sure I can't download that ever again. Maybe they fixed that. Um, but yeah, no, it's
I mean, I would tell you when I got my new Xbox, you can go. I was looking and stuff, and I was able to download like Golden Axe. Remember when they like released those on there? This was
mhm.
360, I think. And so I
Yeah.
was able to do that. So maybe some things have.
Yeah, I think it depends on like if they're still available or something. Because like I'm pretty sure I couldn't re-download Scott Pilgrim on my Xbox One,
Gotcha.
even though I had it on the 360. I had to buy it on PS3 because I didn't have my 360 anymore. Um, but yeah. Anyway, that was about Nintendo and eShops and video game preservation. That was a long topic. I didn't think it'd
No,
be that
no,
long.
no. I think it's important to talk about it.
Yeah,
Now
for
we're gonna
sure.
talk about something that's like super sad. So, um, Twitch, Twitch had a layoff. They laid off 400 people. And I've got it pulled up from Twitch about our work. They put up something about our workforce. Basically, they had to say goodbye to 400 people as a company focused on building community together. This decision was incredibly difficult and one we do not make without um, considerable thought. And so this is like, and this is not just this company. I've noticed there have been um, layoffs
Well,
around.
this isn't necessarily written in here. So the CEO or CIO, whoever, someone high enough in Twitch recently left, and then this is the new person just kind of like stepping in. And it's like, oh hey, by the way, you're supposed to fire people. Wait, what? Like it's kind of sucks for that person. Like one of the first things he's gonna be known for is, oh, you gotta fire all these people. But also I think it's like is it like 800 total or something total or something for like Amazon, because this is part of like an Amazon um uh workforce layoff, and so they had to get rid of people from Twitch as well because they say that it's not profitable or whatever. But like I feel like as far as I can tell, like Twitch is still thriving. It's just a matter of what are the actual profits. And like I've kind of listened like from other people as well, like other podcasts and news outlets and stuff. What are they spending money on to make it seem like they're not making money? um because it doesn't
Oh,
seem like, because they're not spending money on the architecture, it seems, because
no.
they take away features. I didn't know this, but apparently you can't host channels anymore. You used to be able to do that. I have to double check, but supposedly yeah, you can't like slash host a channel. So if someone went to your um say like I am not streaming right now, but friend of the show, Alex, the Danamaster is, and I
Yeah.
have set up auto host or something like that. If you go to my channel or like you're subscribed to me, it will say hosting this channel, and it will show you and put out there, hey, your guy isn't streaming, but this other person who the guy supports and trusts, they're streaming. So then that gains viewers and followers and subscribers for the other people. It's just very good community base overall. But yeah, no, they took that away. So yeah, what are they doing with all that money? Because I'm not really seeing it, and they're taking more of a cut now too from like partners and all that stuff, like 50% and all that. So like, yeah, where is this money?
I feel like it's the national standard of hey, we need to do cutbacks, but I'm not going to get rid of my bonus. And we've seen that with banks. We've seen that with a lot of things. It sucks, and layoffs suck. I've actually been, in a place that did a layoff around COVID. So um, layoffs are never fun, you know, at all. It sucks. So I guess more than anything, to not gotta dwell on this one here, because reading this letter, there's like a lot of BS in
Mm-hmm.
there. But for the people that lost their jobs, hopefully they're able to get jobs and get back on their feet super quickly. And it is a question of like, so where are you spending your money? You will never, you and I will never see where they're spending their money.
No.
They, it was like, I remember years ago when, they bailed out banks or whatever and everyone got their bonuses. So like high ups were getting like millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's crazy to me. There. And so, but we don't know. We don't know what's going on. I know Amazon was a part of that as well, and they laid off some people as well. So it should be an interesting thing. So, you know what is good news though is our shout out of the week. I I I found it is a Twitch streamer, believe it or not. His name is code name Modern. So I started watching him about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Fantastic stream. It's very casual. You can just come in and just watch it, and he plays some really cool stuff. When I was watching him, he was playing some NES. He's been playing some Sega Genesis recently. Today he's playing Turtles in Time. Um, just super chill, super relaxed. And so he is our shout out of the week. Definitely, if you are on there and you listen to the podcast, go check him out. Go hit a follow. I think he's never once said anything about subs or anything like that, which he just does it for fun. Kind of like us. Like we do this podcast just because we like to do it. And he's the same way. So definitely go check him out. Go download or go and follow him on Twitch and tell him that you heard from our podcast, which would be awesome. But if anything, go follow him. And speaking of our podcast, this podcast, I don't know if you knew this, but this podcast release every other week. We do a audio version, which is on iTunes, Google, iHeartRadio, just about everywhere you would get a podcast from. And then we also do it on YouTube. So we are YouTube as well, where you get a video version of this podcast. We are on Twitch. Well, I shouldn't say Twitch. We're on Twitter and Facebook, and we have a Discord as well. Definitely check it out. There'll be links in the description for this. Um, Man, I really don't have anything else. Do you have anything, Alex?
I do not, except get at it.
Get at it.